Marie Wilson. Born Catherine Elizabeth Wilson on August 19, 1916, in Anaheim, California, was the original dumb blonde of American television. But here's the thing almost nobody knew. She wasn't dumb at all. She was the one who moved her entire family of 9 people to Hollywood at just 16 years old after she inherited $11,000. And she ran that household while quietly building one of the most beloved characters in the history of radio and TV. She played Irma Peterson, the sweet, scatterbrained secretary living in a rundown Manhattan apartment, for the full run of the CBS show from 1952 to 1954, all 39 episodes, after already doing it on radio for 7 years straight since 1947. The show never brought her an Emmy nomination, but her name earned not 1, not 2, but 3 separate stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for radio, film, and television, which tells you everything. In her later years, she quietly fought cancer through multiple surgeries, never making it public, still taking small TV roles right up until her last one in Love, American Style in 1972. On November 23, 1972, Marie Wilson passed away surrounded by her family in Burbank, California. She was 56 years old. The cancer had finally won. She was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Hollywood Hills, the same city that had been her home since she was 16 and fearless. December 27, 1916, Spokane, Washington. That's where Catherine Lee Lewis came into the world. And she spent the next 5 decades becoming one of the most respected voices in the golden age of radio. She had no big break, no single defining moment. She just showed up and outwalked everyone. When creator Cy Howard was casting My Friend Irma in 1947, Lewis walked into the audition already running late for her next job, said, all right, 5 minutes, that's all. And Howard later said he knew from those exact words that she was Jane Stacy. She played Jane, the sharp, level-headed roommate to Irma's lovable chaos, for over 300 radio episodes, and then brought the character to CBS television when the show moved to screens in 1952. For that role, specifically that role, she received the Ideal Secretary Award from the Executive Secretaries Club in 1948, which sounds small until you realize it meant millions of working women recognized themselves in her. She left the show in 1953, burned out and tired, and later landed a recurring role on the hit sitcom Hazel. By the early 1960s, though, something was quietly growing inside her: lung cancer. On November 20, 1968, in Hollywood Hills, California, Cathy Lewis died. She was 51 years old, taken far too soon, on the same date her father had died years before. She was the woman called in when Cathy Lewis walked out the door. Born September 17, 1915, in Los Angeles, California, Mary Shipp had been acting since she was 8 years old. Her professional debut in a stock production of The Little Princess. Her aunt was the legendary stage actress Jean Eagles, and she spent years in radio playing everyone from teenagers to society women. When Jane Stacy was written off My Friend Irma in 1953 and the show needed a new roommate for Irma, Shipp stepped in as Kay Foster and held the show together through its final season, appearing in 21 episodes until the series ended in June 1954. The role didn't bring her any awards, but her career continued. She appeared in prestigious productions like Playhouse 90 and You Are There. Her personal life was tied closely to the entertainment industry. She was the first wife of influential CBS producer Harry Ackerman, with whom she had 2 children. On May 8, 1997, Mary Shipp died of a heart attack in Los Angeles, California. She was 81 years old. Born April 15, 1917, in Baltimore, Maryland, Hans Conried had one of those voices that could make a cartoon villain feel genuinely menacing and a bumbling professor feel like your eccentric neighbor at the same time. He got the role of Professor Kropotkin on the My Friend Irma radio show. And then something strange happened on the film set in 1949. The original actor cast as Kropotkin, Felix Bressart, died suddenly during production. Conried, who knew the character cold from radio, stepped in immediately. Most of that finished film shows Bressart's face with Conried's voice dubbed over it. That's how good the match was. He never got a formal Emmy nomination for his work on the show, But the role that truly made him immortal came right after. In 1953, Disney cast him as both Captain Hook and Mr. Darling in Peter Pan, and he voiced Snidely Whiplash in the Dudley Do-Right cartoons, giving an entire generation of children their favorite villain sounds. He had a history of heart problems, a stroke during a stage performance in 1974, a mild heart attack in 1979. He was performing in barefoot in the park in Seattle when chest pains hit. He was rushed to St. Joseph Medical Center in Burbank. His wife Margaret and their children were at his bedside. On January 5, 1982, Hans Conried died of a massive heart attack at age 64. His body was donated to science. He was born Siegfried Aaron on December 27, 1895, in Hamburg, Germany, and the world he grew up in would not allow him to stay. By 1933, as a Jewish man in Nazi Germany, Arno was forced into exile, spending 6 years moving through Belgium, Switzerland, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and the Netherlands, performing wherever he could, surviving however he could. He finally reached America in 1939 with very little but his talent and his timing, and Hollywood put him to work. He had already built a comedy reputation in German film through his Beef and Steak duo act with Kurt Jahren. The two men matched deliberately by producers for the physical contrast of Arno's tall, lanky frame against Jaren's stout build. In America, he landed the TV version of Professor Kropotkin on My Friend Irma in 1953, the kind of absurd, good-natured neighbor role that suited him perfectly. In his later years, Parkinson's disease took hold of him slowly. On August 17, 1975, at the age of 79, Sig Arno died in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles. Donald McBride, born June 23, 1893, in Brooklyn, New York, was the kind of character actor Hollywood couldn't live without. The permanently flustered, slow-burn guy who looked like he was always 2 seconds away from losing his mind. He spent years in vaudeville and Broadway before Hollywood came calling, and once it did, he showed up in nearly 140 films over 2 decades, most memorably tormenting the Marx Brothers in Room Service and playing exasperated hotel managers, detectives, and authority figures who never quite got any respect. On My Friend Irma, he brought all of that energy to Milton J. Clyde, Irma's long-suffering boss, appearing in 10 episodes from 1952 to 1954. After a long illness, Donald McBride died on June 21, 1957, in Los Angeles. He was 63 years old, just 2 days short of his 64th birthday. Sid Tummick was born September 8, 1907, in Brooklyn, New York. A vaudeville kid who grew up to become the guy you always recognized on screen, but could never quite name. That tough-looking, balding face showed up in dozens of films through the 1940s and 50s, playing cabbies, small-time hoods, bartenders. The kind of guy lurking in every corner of a noir scene. On My Friend Irma, he played Al, Irma's scheming, deadbeat boyfriend with a new get-rich-quick plan every episode, appearing in 10 episodes across the show's run. His heart gave out young. On November 12, 1962, Sid Tummick died at Desert Hospital in Palm Springs, California. He was only 55. Here is a detail that's almost too perfect to believe. Katharine Givney was born on October 27, 1896, in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and her most famous film role was playing Mrs. Rhinelander in the 1949 My Friend Irma movie, the snooty society matron who shares the exact name of her hometown. Nobody planned that. She spent her career playing exactly those kinds of women, cold, elegant, and imperious, in films like A Place in the Sun with Elizabeth Taylor and Montgomery Clift, and Daddy Long Legs with Fred Astaire. The role in My Friend Irma didn't come with any award nominations, but A Place in the Sun certainly kept her name in serious dramatic conversations throughout the early 1950s. She kept working right through the 1960s, with recurring guest spots on Hazel, Perry Mason, My Three Sons, and Family Affair. Her last TV appearance coming in 1972 on Owen Marshall, Counselor at Law. Then she stepped away from it all. On March 16, 1978, Katharine Givney passed away at her home in Hollywood, California. She was 81 years old, a widow by then, having outlived her second husband. She was buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills. Percy Hilton was born January 31, 1894, in Manhattan, and he literally walked onto a stage at age 2, performing in his father's vaudeville act before he could barely talk. He served in World War I, earned the Distinguished Service Cross, then came back and kept acting. During a stage run that demanded constant screaming, his voice got permanently destroyed, and that ruined, raspy, wheezing sound became the most recognizable thing about him for the next 50 years. He played Mr. Clyde, Irma's boss, in the My Friend Irma films, and showed up in over 200 film and TV roles, including Miracle on 34th Street and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. On September 11, 1971, Percy Hilton passed away of natural causes at Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center in Los Angeles. He was 77. The voice that broke and made him unforgettable finally went quiet.